My name is Sawa Ito. I want to tell you about the person I am. I am almost 11 and a half years old.
I'm Amy Harmon. I'm a reporter with the New York Times. For the past few months, I've been reporting on an unusual public relations campaign that's being organized by the parents of children with Down syndrome.
I love to read. Math used to be really hard, but it's easier.
It's the response to new guidelines that obstetricians are implementing, which are going to allow many more pregnant women than ever before to detect Down syndrome in utero. About 5,500 children in the U.S. are born every year with Down syndrome, which causes a range of physical and intellectual disabilities.
Until now, prenatal testing is focused on women 35 or older who are at higher risk for conceiving a child with Down syndrome. About 90% of women who get the diagnosis choose to terminate their pregnancies. The fear is that as testing expands to a much broader number of women, they will also terminate in high numbers, and the number of children with Down syndrome will drop.
Having a child with Down syndrome is becoming much more of a choice than an act of fate.
What?
Personal.
While preventing disability is usually seen as progress, parents raising children with Down syndrome worry about the impact on their own kids.
Personality. Right, personality.
Yes, they can. Yes, our kids can live independently. Some do go to college. Some do go to trade school.
So Lucy Talbot, who runs a local support group in the Detroit area, has been going into her local hospitals during lunch to try to meet with obstetricians and genetic counselors, and she brings with her kids who have Down syndrome.
I play soccer, and I am on a bowling league and a boxing league. I like to watch videos.
Most of these doctors never see a child past newborn state. So they really don't understand what a 12-year-old or a 13 or a 14 or 18-year-old can do.
It was nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
And the idea is that these people who make the diagnosis, who tell couples that they could have a child with Down syndrome, will have in their head not just kind of the standard list of medical problems that Down syndrome children are at risk for, but also an image of the actual kids.
We're available to you.
There are a lot of different motivations for why they're doing this. For some of them, they themselves have had negative experiences when they got their diagnosis, whether it was before the child was born or after.
Situation. No one ever congratulated those new parents on that baby. They told them how to get past this stage, but you have to. It's a baby first, and we have to congratulate, and that's what we tell.
Several women that I spoke to said that their doctors urged them to terminate, if not in so many words, then just by emphasizing how difficult it would be to raise a child with Down syndrome. Another reason parents say is that doctors often base their advice to patients on an outdated perception of what Down syndrome is, from an era where people were routinely institutionalized, when their life expectancy was half of what it is today. Mostly, though, they're really driven by this deep-seated fear for their own children's future. If there are fewer children with Down syndrome in the world, then there will be less resources for their own. There'll be less money for medical research and fewer programs for social inclusion, and they want to make sure that doesn't happen. One mother said to me that to her it's just faces disappearing. We see people with Down syndrome in our daily lives now, and maybe someday we won't. I guess the question that a lot of these parents are raising is, as we begin to filter out what we see as genetic imperfection, are we prepared for the consequences?